Alright, so today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to pick out subwoofers and amplifiers to your desired needs. Some things to remember. One is the RMS power. RMS power is how much power it'll put out from the amplifier to the subwoofers. Now, one thing to also remember is the peak power. These two things are not the same thing, and many people confuse them. Peak power is something you want to ignore. Remember to ignore it, because this is their advertised amount, the highest amount they could possibly get out of the amplifier. It's like when you have your TVs. Now, let's say you got a 44-inch TV. That's a diagonal measurement. It's not up, it's not down, it's not anything else but diagonal. That's the highest possible measurement they can sell you and still be true. Same thing with peak. It's true, but it's kind of not at the same time. Peak power is something that it'll hit in a split second with perfect conditions. It'll probably only do it a couple times. Now, RMS power is the power it'll constantly put out. It's also known as nominal power. This is what you want to look for. This is the true amount you're getting. Now, third thing to remember is the difference between DVC and SVC. DVC means dual voice coil, and SVC means single voice coil. Now, a voice coil, you want to look at them as separate speakers in themselves. Even though one speaker can have two of them, each voice coil has a set of positive and minus. This is what you need to look at when you're wiring to an amplifier. So, if you see the dual voice coil has two of these, SVC has two of these, or just one of these actually. So two single voice coils is going to be the same as one dual voice coil. It's that simple. Now let's go into your ohms. Ohms is resistance. This is how you spell ohms, and this is the symbol you'll see for it used a lot when you're looking at your specifications for your amplifier. Many amplifiers can go down to 2 ohms. It'll say 2 ohms stable, but generally the best use of an amplifier is at 4 ohms. Every amplifier can be at 4 ohms when you're talking about car audio. If the amplifier says it's 2 ohms stable, that's the absolute minimum it can put out. Less ohms means more power, so you're probably thinking you should go with the lowest one because you're getting more bang for your buck. But actually, if you use a lower ohms, that means your amplifier is working harder, it can overheat, it can burn out faster, the lifespan is going to be a lot less long. So you actually want to pick the middle one right here. Now, let's say you have an amplifier, it says it's 1 ohm stable, but it can also do 2 ohms, 4 ohms, 8 ohms. Now, the best one I would pick out of this is this one right here. So you're not overusing the amplifier, and this is for if you like, you're going to work every day, you always have your subwoofers on, you know, you're using it constantly, maybe an hour or two a day. You want to pick this one. You're still getting a lot of efficient energy, but at the same time you're not burning out your amplifier. And these right here, it wouldn't make much sense to use these. Higher ohms are usually used in home audio, whereas a different power source altogether. 2 ohms is a good amount when you have 4 different amounts that you can use on your amplifier. And never exceed 8. Because you get higher and higher, you're just wasting your money. Now there's also 2 things you need to learn, and that is parallel wiring and series. The difference between parallel and series is just like it sounds. Series, you just keep going in a series essentially. Your wire just keeps on going back to the amplifier. Now remember, the thing to remember about these two is that series adds ohms, parallel divides. This is generally what you want to use for car audio right here. Because when you're wiring in parallel, you can lower the ohms and get more efficient energy from your amplifier. So here's your amplifier. Let's say you got 2 single voice coil subwoofers. So here's one right here, and here's one right here. All you have to do is go from plus to plus, minus to minus. So again, you just go from the positive side terminal of your amplifier to the positive side of the first subwoofer to the positive side of the second subwoofer. And by parallel wiring like this, you've now divided the ohms. So let's say your first subwoofer is 4 ohms SVC, and your second one is also 4 ohms SVC. Now when you parallel wire them, instead of series where you would have gotten 8 ohms, you now divided them and you have 2 ohms. This is a very popular version of parallel wiring, is where you have an amplifier that can go down to 2 ohms and you use 2 subwoofers to get the 2 ohms. Now there are 2 ohm subwoofers, but they're usually competition, so the cheaper ones are going to be 4 ohms. The most likely to see is 4 ohm SVC and 4 ohm DVC. So if you're in the same exact situation, except instead of having 2 SVC subwoofers, you have 1 DVC. So 1 DVC subwoofer at 4 ohms. You could still get this 2 ohms. Remember when I said that each voice coil is like another speaker? Well, now you have 1 DVC. It's like having 2 SVCs. So again, there's going to be 2 plus and minus sets on each side. So the parallel wire, you go from positive to positive, negative to negative, back to the negative of the amplifier. And there you go. 1 4 ohm DVC subwoofer now equals 2 ohms. And it's pretty much that simple. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to comment them, and I'll try to make some more videos. Thank you.